Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Raisa Lopez from Channel Sales and Marketing at IIG. We are very excited to have you with us today as we present AcuRental and all of its newest features. AcuRental is a certified solution fulfilled by Acumatica, and you can find pricing on the Acumatica price list. A little bit about us before we get started, in case we haven't worked together before. We have been operating in the ERP space for over 30 years. We've successfully developed 17 enhancements for Acumatica, 10 of which are certified and on the price list. And 2 of our modules were acquired by Acumatica. That was our Gmail integration, AcuGmail, and Acumatica's POS. We are also partnered with over 100 different Acumatica VARs worldwide. We offer partner support in discoveries and demos, and we're also taking on new partners right now for custom programming, and we're offering very competitive rates. We have over 1,000 clients that we support worldwide, whether that's with our ISV solutions or with custom programming, and we are a Gold Acumatica partner. Here are some of our most popular enhancements developed for Acumatica. You can find a lot more information on our website. You can find data sheets and video recordings as well. And check out our reviews while you're on our website. It's under the Success Stories tab, where you'll find reviews from our customers and our partners as well. Before I turn you over to Alec, I do want to invite you to type your questions in on the top right, and we will get to them at the end of the call. So with that being said, I will turn you over to Alec, our Chief Solutions Architect, so he can begin the presentation.
Great, thank you, Raisa. And I am going to share my screen. Okay, so as Raisa mentioned, I'm Alec with Information Integration Group, the product specialist here at IIG. As Raisa mentioned, we have good number of enhancements published. The product that we're looking at today is AcuRental and has good number of installations around the world. And it works with all the modules in Acumatica, from field service to sales order processing to projects to CRM, fixed asset. So depending on your need, you can add any one of these modules to your Acumatica system and take advantage of rental functionality. So we primarily serve for the AV production and construction industries, even though we have customers in the medical field and many other industries. AV production, we run ads in various magazines. We attend a lot of shows, and we've have being in Southern California, Hollywood, our DNA is in AV production companies, working for years, taking care of events and productions and crew schedulings. As in the construction, we also have a good number of implementations, from equipment ROI to project integration to intercompany transactions. We've done a lot in that area. Some of the advanced scenarios. So if you're working with projects and you want to generate invoices out of the project module, not out of the sales order, you could do that. You could use the sales order module for scanning products in and out, processing boxes, doing the check-in, check-out QC functions, but have the invoices get generated from project. Intercompany posting. So if you have a scenario that you have a parent company and subsidiary, and this one subsidiaries, one of them owns the inventory, and the others perform work on projects. The system would do all the transaction. Equipment ROI, showing what you paid for an equipment, all the expenses, whether AP or scheduled services to keep that project equipment running. We'll manage that. We'll show you the revenue generated. Time card data collection. Folks, whether they're staging an order to go out or they're in the field, they can clock in, clock out, and we roll that information to Acumatica's payroll as well as to time card for approval by supervisor and so forth. When it comes to work order integration, we let you create work tickets. Work tickets could be for changing the bucket size on a tractor before it goes out, or it could be for installation of an equipment on site or a delivery and pickup. We'll let you schedule all of those and work with the Acumatica's mobile app as to capture signature. And if you're doing any repair work, we will let you set up repairs that are customer billable, non-billable, being your own expense. You can create scheduled services that are multiple steps. Maybe you're working on an engine where you need to, in one step, you need to get the engine on, send it out for fabrication. We'll manage the outside processing, bring it back. If you're a dealer, maybe some repairs are billable to the manufacturer, some to the customer, some your expense will manage all of those. Field service integration, very easy to create a field service and appointment at a rental item, or so you actually leave a rental item on site, but you do that all as part of a field service order and an appointment. Credit card integration, deposit processing, so it does not impact your credit available for the customer. Sub rentals, you can generate a sub rental for a piece of equipment. CRM integration, you could create an opportunity in Acumatica, and that opportunity can have a rental, and we would let you enter packages and configure what would go out on that opportunity using package functionality. Working with Acumatica's mobile app, we let you enter orders in the yard. So if you have a scenario where a person walks in the yard with a customer, scans what they want, and then at the end they can just generate the rental contract right from there. Customer portal integration, depending on your customer, you could give them access to customer portal, come see availability on a screen, and then create a rental contract. Damage waiver, insurance tracking, managed, as mentioned earlier, also deposit processing. On our 24R2 release, as part of our roadmap, RFID processing, so you could actually process your shipments and returns using RFID tags. Hourly based availability space. So what we've done here is for your processes such as drive time back, such as tearing down a job or setup, staging, you can enter the time for each one of those, and by day you could see what goes on and what comes back, and what's the drive time back from the job site, or what's the expected time for a new order to go out, and we'll see that on a visual presentation. Transfer between warehouses. So if you're looking at availability and you're short, you can create a transfer type sales order. Substituting items during shipping. So if you set up a Sony TV and they don't have that, and you have a Samsung, you can substitute that during the shipping process. Box processing, we allow you to put things in a box, maybe 8 TVs, 7-inch TVs with the remotes and cables, get configured in a box. So when you process, of course, you do the QC function as part of putting them in a box. And during the order entry, you can just select the box and ship the box without having the need to scan individual items. Combined invoice processing, as I mentioned, you can generate invoice out of the project module, but if you wanted to, from the sales order module, if you want to have different rental orders shipped to a job site, but a combined invoice get generated, you could do that. We would automatically load that. Of course, you could easily go back to the same rental contract and add items to it, but this gives you the ability to have multiple orders, rental orders, and generate one invoice for them. Vendor consignment in the audio video industry, we have folks that get some product from the vendors, they sell them or they rent them, and as needed, we'll convert that consignment to a transaction. So in this screen, what we try to show you is that we handle the complete cycle from opportunities to creating sales quotations, sending the quotation out to the customer, getting one of them approved, from there creating the rental contract. From inside the rental contract, we let you create a project. So you can select the project template, and create a project from the rental contract entry. Schedule your technicians in the services module. I'll demonstrate that. Create the work tickets for building the stage, or changing the bucket size on a machinery, and so forth. Of course, when it comes to vendors, we let you create subcontractor vendors. Of course, everything rolls up to the project, to the warehouse. They can do the delivery, then from the field, capture data. Now, this whole cycle could go from the opportunities to project, and from projects you can create the sales order, depending on how you process. Equipment ROI, very important to folks that are in the construction industry. I will show you what you paid for a piece of equipment, how much you bought it. As you process AP bills, we will let you enter on that AP bill what equipment and what equipment cost codes should be used. Basically, equipment cost codes are user defined cost codes. So if you want to track how much you're spending on engine versus electronic parts, hydraulics, and so forth, you can create different equipment cost codes and have visibility, or scheduled services, have visibility of what your expenses. And when it comes to direct revenue and expense, we track resource revenue. So maybe you have a trailer that you keep using to take equipment to the job site. That could, for itself, track what we call resource revenue. So you'll see that you're generating revenue because of it, but it's not necessarily the product that is on rent. Our dashboard here. So as you can see, you can enter a date range, and for the enter date range, we'll show you the orders that are to ship, orders that are to return. Of course, you can drill down and access any one of these orders. We'll show you availability information, what's on hand for that date range that you've entered at the top, what's on RO, rental orders. So you have what's on rental orders waiting to go out, and go quantity on rent, which what's actually on rent, what's on hand, and what's available. As during the demo, I'll show you, we have many different screens that will show you availability in different formats. At the top here, missing and damaged. So basically, when it comes to a rental, when it's returned, we let you give the customer a grace period. And if they do good, they bring the missing part back. You can close that missing and damage. If not, you can invoice them. Or if it's a good customer and it's an older product, you can just decide to close it and issue it out of inventory. Our work ticket generation, active work order integration. So each one of these cells represents an action to be performed, whether it's a delivery, whether it's a pickup, whether it's change a bucket, whether it's staging an order. So you color code them, and you can have a drag and drop, feature of it used to move things around. As I mentioned, we worked with opportunities. So you can see here rental lines, and opportunity has a rental line. So all these lines get auto-loaded when you select that package. That package auto-loads all these items with the amount. So from here, when you create the quotations, and from quotations, rental orders, and all of that, all of these items get copied to your generated transactions. Here we're showing you how from sales order you can create a project by entering a template. Now, one of the things we do based on item class or a specific item, stock, non-stock, we let you load the task into the line for the sales order. So that also takes place. Loading items to the loading items into rental farm. So for us, it's very important that the user interface and processes be very streamlined. So when you're adding items into the rental contract, we let you group your items into different categories: audio, video, LCD TVs. And once you select one, we will show you all the items that belong to that category. Again, user defined by you. Once you select it, if that's set up with options, configurable options, we pop up the option, let you answer the questions about the pipes, carpet, and so forth. And additional lines are loaded into the order. So you can keep adding your audio, then go to the accessories, go to the video, and so for lighting, and on, build your orders. Any labor line or any item that you've set up as a model equipment that requires scheduling, will pop up when you click on create service appointments. Notice it just shows you those items and gives you the ability to click on add staff, see what technicians are available, have the skill and license requirements, select them, and load them line item by line item. Of course, you can click on time and create enter separate starting and ending time for each one of these functions. And of course, we let you create the appointment, field service appointment, right from the rental contract entry program, and bring up the scheduling board. So folks would see the services module calendar board right from here, and they'll be able to decide if they wanted to move something back and forth, allowing for traffic to go outside and come back. As I mentioned, we let you create work ticket. If you have a concert and you need to build a stage for it, the routing defined Here is an example. We're creating a candy cane collection for maybe a Christmas parade at Disney. And notice that you could have which steps go into the production of that item. Maybe you're going to do some cutting, you're going to build a stage, yeah, and do the welding and whatever, all of those. It would let you schedule the technician even if you want to. Of course, most of these things are settings. If you just want to create the work orders and not necessarily assign technicians, you could do that. Very important that we integrate with projects. So as I mentioned, you can build out of the project module and use the system to do the check-in, check-out, inventory availability tracking, and so forth. So you can tell it what you want to post to the project as cost and so forth. So that's all defined here as a percent of revenue. We let you optionally post cost to GL. So some folks would say, for us to get a rental ready to go on, we want to actually post cost to GL, and we could let you do that, fixed amount or whatever you could post to GL by line item. So that's again an option. Uh, our billing is very flexible. So your billing could be as simple as this is our price for day, this is our price for week, this is our price for 28 days or a month, or it could get really fancy from one day, day 1 to 3 days to charge you daily, from 4 to 7 days, go ahead and charge a week, 8 to 14, repeat this, anything over 15, charge a month, and anything past that, just repeat the same cycle. Billing, in addition to billing for duration, you could also bill for usage. So you could have a situation that is a generator and the billing for a week is this much, but that allows for so many hours of usage. So if the usage exceeds those number of hours, system would also generate a billing line for the extra excessive use of that equipment. We do hourly billing, so you could say this allows for 4 hours of use, and if you're in a industry that rents product for 2 hours, 4 hours, will use the start time, end time of the order, and if need be, we'll charge for the additional days. Uh, Time-based availability, as I mentioned, we manage time-based availability. So at any time from rental order entry, you could click on a button and it will bring up. In this case, we're looking at from October 11th to January 20th. What is the availability? It shows a separate line whenever availability is impacted. So if you need to sub-rent or turn down an order, you're to turn down the order for the shortest duration. Here you see what's on quotations, what's on RO rental orders, what's on rent. Of course, there's an available here that shows you could from here go see the individual serial numbers, or drill down, see the rental orders that make up any one of these numbers. We also have grid-based availability. So for any item or class of items, or you define your own groupings, we'll show you availability. Notice if an item is negative, we'll show you in red, so you'll see that you have a shortage. But one of the nice things about this is if a line is negative, you can click on availability by warehouse. It will show you all the other warehouses, and you can write from here, generate transfer order, and bring that product. So it's all of time based. So if October 10th to the 22nd, you have an order you're short on, it will show you other warehouses nearby that have that product. So one of the nice things about it is that we let you by warehouse define for each warehouse what is the priority warehouse, what warehouse should be used first, then the other, and get listed here accordingly. Now, of course, if you're bringing inventory on consignment, it will show you the consignment inventory as a warehouse, so you can use that and transfer accordingly. Rental check-in, check-out, as I mentioned, by item. For this forklift, you can enter what things you want to check when you renting the product and when you're returning the product. And it would not let you confirm shipment or process the rental return until you process the transaction. Scheduled services here for this item, we've said annually, every 365 days or for this many hours used, we want to change these parts and this labor. And there's a program that when you run, it would go ahead and create your scheduled services for you. So you'll be able to perform the function. It will issue the inventory out of stock any parts that you've defined. It would generate an issue transaction, get the inventory out. It will cost it as part of the maintaining that item, so you'll see exactly how much you've cost. Now, if you have the AcuWork Order module, you have the option to actually create multi-step schedule services. So maybe, again, as I mentioned in an example, you're working on an engine or you're working on a generator that you want some outside process to take place, or you want someone to undo the engine, and then somebody else send it out or work on it, and so you could have a multi-step schedule services. And again, any labor and material reported would get cost. If you set up any QC functions, this is where it would get loaded. So you'll be basically performing the QC. Notice the options are assigned to me in process, completed. It needed some repairs. I took it there. They're working on it before I can ship it out. You can capture signature. We also let you by item use templates and print an inspection sheet. So if you're doing a job and you want someone to take a picture when they're done or something, and of course, this is available. The QC function is available for scheduled services, for field service work order, for work order tickets. So you can have pictures taken, signatures captured, all kept. So if there's a problem, you know exactly who performed the inspection on the piece of equipment. So here we're looking at screens that is available for each unit. So this is the stock item, maybe a model of generator, a model of tractor. These are the individual units that are available to us. I noticed that individual units have statuses, and you basically assign color to them so you can see what's on rent, what's in stock, what's in inspection, and you can create views just to see one. I failed to mention that we actually give you the ability to reserve a specific serial number. So we not only do time-based availability, but we let you reserve a serial number. So that serial number, maybe it's a bit different, and somebody wants that specific unit because it has an attachment. You can enter an order for November 10th through the 15th and say we want this specific serial number, and that specific serial number would be reserved for that order. This is the screen where we show you what you paid for an equipment, what's the total cost, what's the total revenue for it, and the equipment value. So you see this, and at the top you see high level information. At the bottom you see the information by equipment cost code. So what's the what they've spent for maintenance, what they've revenue they've generated. Of course, if they click on any one of these lines, then we bring this screen up for that code for that year. Month by month we show the information, and users can drill down to the source transactions. Rental return, one or multiple orders could be returned on the same transaction. You mark what's returned, what's missing, what's damaged right here, basically getting the product to be as part of the missing and damaged process. You can actually, at the time of return, sell the product. So it would let you sell it. You could also define non-stock codes, maybe some product you refuel them or you clean them, and those items would get loaded into the rental return, so it'd be easier for the person processing return, just enter a fee, and that fee would be charged to using that non-stock item or that stock item that you set up. Failed to mention, and when you're doing any billing, you can have non-stock items that you set up to be invoiced at the first rental contract, the last one, or on every rental contract generated. Missing and damaged skin, generating an invoice for it. And rental revenue, you can enter a date range, an item, a class of item, and a customer, and see all the revenue you've generated. Clock in, clock out, where you'll see the office time, warehouse operation. Of course, by user, you define what functions, what type of transaction they report hours against, and they can do this all using scanning. And you can set up whether they see this grid below or not. Capturing information in the field. So this is as part of Acumatica's field service. Acumatica's mobile app, where you're capturing signature for the installation work to get generated. A page on the customer portals. So we're done with the presentation, PowerPoint present. I'm going to start showing us the actual program. So the first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to show the dashboard. So this is the dashboard that we talked about. You can drill down to any one of these orders, as that see it, as I mentioned, the quantity on rent and so forth. You can change the date or just see the activity for a date. Next thing we want to do is just go to the order entry. This is where you enter the rental orders. One of the first things that happen, you enter the customer typically, and you can have this section of the screen displayed with its date. As I mentioned, you create projects. You could group items together. Maybe you're doing a show and you have a certain inventory for a breakout session one. You can enter those, and then you can copy the items from breakout session 1 to 2 to 3. So easily we'll just copy all those items. So when you're putting things on the pallet, you can basically easily palletize them that way and take them to each site. The next thing I wanted to show is that um, you enter the rental info. So in all the screens, whether it's customers or inventory, rental related items are grouped together. So here we're seeing the rental info tab. So all this information gets loaded from the customer record. How do you invoice them? Do you invoice them upfront, periodic, upon return, or schedule? Schedule is very flexible. We'll let you set up orders that you're billing every 90 days, every month, every 28 days, every 14 days. And you can even have periods that you do not bill. So if you are in agriculture and a certain months out of the year you don't bill for those because there's and no activity there, you could set up scheduled billing and basically set up the system so it does not generate an invoice on those months. So again, all this information set up from the customer record gets loaded, and you can make changes to it. We let you by line item define what the billing is. So and starting and ending billing date, you could set up maybe certain products go to a show, convention, and there's only going to be used at the gala event. So for Saturday night, so you don't necessarily need to charge rent for all 4 days. Only charge for rent on the if you set up something as a monthly billing, you could specify what day of the month you want to bill, first day of the month, last day of the month. You can enter an ending date or say this is only for 6 days, and you'll notice that it changes the days to the 6 day and so forth. So the next thing you do, here are other things that are part of the system. If you want to manage your installations, you could do that. Whether you want to post a project, whether it's eligible for holidays and hiatus set up in this. Next thing we do, we just got to add some rental items into the system. Very flexible. When you click on rental items, you basically define the grouping. If you want to load some audio items, you'll see the audio items. If you want to load some accessories, you do those. And of course, if you want to load the production packages, we can select the production package. And as I mentioned, once you select an item, it will let you uh, uh, go through the options. Of course, add lets you add and go to the next grouping. Add and close lets you select the item and get out of this screen. We recalculate inventory availability. So at any point in time, we'll show you what you have available for that date range. So if you're entering an order for December 1st through December 10th, we'll show you for any item displayed here what the availability is, so you can see that. So add and close, now it's going to look at that item and see what options it has. So we said generators, I can say yes for the generator. Notice that additional items would get added here depending on carpets, whether you're putting black carpet, red carpet, or any carpet, pipes and drapes and all of that. And you go ahead and accept that, and it would load items into the order. So this order, we have a few items here. Now, if I wanted to create appointments for it, I could click on create service appointment. This is the part that is the integration with the field service module. Now, of course, if you're not using rentals and you want to using field service to schedule your deliveries and pickups and so forth, installation, you could use that. So here we could select this and click on add staff. We're working on line 1. We let you select who is gonna basically go out. So you can select 2 people for that line and okay that, and then come to the second line and do the add staff and select the person for this line and okay that also. And of course, if any of this you want to put in a special time, maybe the electrician goes there at 04 a.m. and is there till 09 a.m. and the master electrician goes there at 11 a.m. until 04 p.m. You could manage that as well. And all of that, of course. Now, if you click on create, it will go ahead and create these appointments in the services module. Notice that we also let you set up repeating orders. So in here, let's say you have a situation where you're sending someone to the North Pole. Every 10 days, you're swapping two people. Their system will let you create a repeating order. It will keep repeating that until you're done with the rental. But if you're done with this and that's checked, it will go ahead and it will basically create those. We need to select the lines. So it knows what lines we want to generate the orders for. And then we could basically create the appointments in the field service line. So this is again a feature of AcuRental that it adds streamlines and adds functionality to Acumatica for working with the services module of Acumatica by letting you right from rental order entry, put in the different starting time and ending time for each one of the lines, schedules, selecting the technicians, looking at the skills and availability, and so forth and so on, and see this information on Acumatica's calendar board and make changes and drag and drop things, whether you see it in this fashion or this fashion, and so forth and so on. The other thing that perhaps you could see is if you want to set up some order services, maybe some logistics, and you want to say that, okay, we want to do delivery and pickup and what route number it's at, we could do that. We could basically come in here and say, you know what, just go ahead and create some work tickets for me. And this is, so earlier we were looking at if you had field service integration. Here we're going to look at if you have active work order. What it does, it says, great, you want to do a delivery, what route? And you could select the route 1. You could say pickup is also route 2. And if you remember, I was mentioning that the lines that you've set up, non-stuck lines, you can set up so it generates the invoice each time, or it generates the invoice of the very first time or very last time. Here again, you have a recurring service. So maybe you have if once a week you need to go and empty restrooms and so forth, you could set up that and we'll continue doing that service until you close the rental order. So basically what this does now, it brings up the screen where you can decide again which technicians you want to send out. Michael Andrews for that, and maybe Michael also does the pickup, or Layla does the pickup, or whatever, and you okay it. And now we're going to create a work order transaction. So earlier we created service appointment. Here we're going to create work order. Earlier we saw how information got loaded onto got loaded into the service calendar board. This is the employee calendar board of the work order module. So you can enter who's working on what task, drag and drop people from one to the other, and so forth and so on to see all of that. Click on them, open them, and on here, so. And you can create as many of these views as you want, each view showing maybe only drivers in one location versus the other location, and on and on. So far we've entered an item, and then I entered an order. We selected one item, we loaded a whole bunch of items. We saw how we could create a field service order. We saw how we can schedule the delivery. Now, the nice thing about this work order generated and the scheduling board is that using Acumatica's mobile app, you could go capture a signature, deliver the order, and so forth. We looked at how we integrate with the project module. We don't have a project field populated. We will do an order. We create a project so some of these fields become available, and I can look at that. I know it was 11:38. I'm trying to do a lot of work here to get some of these functions going. So a few other things that I want to show you is logistics. So when it comes to an order, the tear down, the drive time, the check-in, the put away, And all of those you can define by time zone. So then we have a screen where you could see for every order. So the dashboard shows things at the day level. Now we have a dashboard that shows things at the hour level, that order is coming in, is going to be turned on at 4 o'clock in the morning. Then they're going to drive it back to us and get here at 8 a.m. They check in till 9, and then your next order will have its time. We have a screen that shows you by time whether you're able to meet that window, or you need to, instead of 4 a.m., go get the product at, at 1 a.m. or whatever. We also have, as I mentioned, we have combined invoices of orders, so you could say this order has child orders, so could be included. So you basically, when you're creating invoices, they all become part of this the same order and so forth. So going back to our process, maybe what we'll do is we'll just kind of ship this order for us to see the shipping process. Then perhaps we can go look at the equipment ROI, some of the other. Notice that in here, there's also box processing. We'll let you create boxes and tell us what goes into the box, and build the box. And to build the box, you go to a transfer order and you move everything into that box that is you've defined in a warehouse location. So it actually, if you need to do an inspection before put the TVs and screens in a box, you'll go ahead and do all of that. So the box is ready to go inspected. So there's this programs for box builder and all of that. I'm just going to bring them up quickly before we do that. So the box specification lets you tell the software that there's a 70 each box, or there's this, with each one of these packages includes two of this, three of this, two of this, one of this. Then you have the box builder that lets you basically create a transfer order and go, bring the product that it needs to go into that box, and it creates a transfer order to pull it, and you confirm the transfer order, and you're creating the box, so the system knows that everything is sitting in the box, so your order entry could happen easily and all of that. Going back to our order that we had. Create shipment is what's going to create our order for us. And of course, this function could be done with the WMS system. So either way, so we can click on line detail and enter the specific unit. Now, by item, you can enter whether meter reading is required. So if this item you can enter whether meter reading is required at the time of shipping or return or both, and so forth and so on. Going to select also a unit for our generator. Now, if I click on confirm, because this item has QC functions that need to be performed, it's going to say, you know what, you need to go to the QC functions. I can have it create my QC. It's okay, send it to QC for the QC department to do their job. So it goes ahead and creates the QC. Now, I can do the QC right from here, or if my operation is such that folks need to access it from the QC menu, they'll do that. But either way, I mean, this is something that depending on your operation, you can print the pick ticket or create the shipments from the rental transaction if your customer service reps do that, versus if you have different folks doing that. So here, there are three things that need to be tested. One of them is for this item, two of them are for the generators. So you could go through and basically select in process, completed, in repair, print the inspection sheet, capture a signature. There's also a quick mode. I've noticed that because I access from the rental order shipment program, it already loaded rental shipment, so I'm not seeing all the QC that I need to do. And I'm just seeing the QC that is needed for this order. Notice you can do QC by template. If I check this box, it's going to say completed, completed, completed. Notice that this says, well, this by QC function, you can enter whether it needs a supervisory approval, and this itself becomes a field that is checked by security access rights. So not everybody can do that unless they have that access to that field. So now we've finished our QC. You can click on completed, and we complete the QC. So if we go back to our shipment, now we'll be able to process that shipment. I'm gonna just refresh the screen. You will see now it's on hold. We'll do this, and once you click confirm shipment, this time it will go ahead and actually confirm the shipment. One thing I basically failed to discuss is that this is where we have substitute items. So if you enter an order and they do not have the quantity at the time, and not this order is just got confirmed, that's why that is grayed out, but you can substitute a different issue. This is a different part number. This is the part that is 70-inch TV, could be a Samsung, could be changed within 7-inch LG or whatever, and so that's easily done at that time. I want to also show us the availability screen and what we do with the availability. So this screen gives you the ability to put in a class of items or define your own grouping any way you want here using these filters. And what it's going to do for the enter date range is going to show us availability. So it was going to say on August 30th, 31st, 32nd, what you have available. And if any warehouse is a negative quantity, it will show that in red. So you'll see that again. Easily you could create your different session has expired. We need to do this. Apply filter. So here you see for the enter date range, what's the availability for any one of these warehouses. And if you click here, by the way, you can see this information by serial number. But if you're short, you can click here and call availability by warehouse, see what you have in the other warehouses, select a warehouse, and generate a transfer order right here to transfer it from that warehouse to your warehouse. Again, all time-based availability managed. So you have the availability to access the program from the rental order entry program. So you can easily access this program from rental order entry program, create, look at what other warehouse has it, and create the transfer from there for it. One other thing I want to show is that we talked about the items, and we talked about QC schedule service, but we did not see where you set this up. So we're going to go into the stock item and look at that generator item of ours and see where you set up some of this information. So one of the things that happened, notice QC is required is checked, and if the QC is required, then you have the ability to come in here, see all the QC that you need to do. So if you want to see what QC you need to perform for rental returns, you select that. It says when the product is returned, this is the QC we do. If you want to see what QC we do when the product is shipped, you select that, and it says these are the two things that you do, whether approval is required by supervisor and all that. As for scheduled services, you check whether or not scheduled service is required. You select scheduled services, and it says we give you 365 days or 240 miles. We go ahead and change these parts. Again, depending on setting, you could set up a routing that kicks in, and you basically would do you will do the inspection scheduled service function using that. Here, notice that there's also availability to set up default values for equipment ROI. We talked about the fact that for every equipment, we track the ROI, what you paid for it, and so forth and so on. This is the default value. So if I come in here and look at an item, and this is the screens now that we're seeing each individual unit of an item. So you could do this, and you could say, you know what, just show me the, generate 2,500. And of course, you can use this and create your own view of seeing the tractors or dozers or anything. But as you look at any one of these items, if you want to look see more information on it, all you need to do is click on it, it would bring up the item. So now we're looking at information for this individual unit. The fixed asset number. We'll show you the fixed asset number, the starting meter, the current meter, the number of days on rent, equipment. All of this information, if it's entered properly as at the item class level and the stock item level, gets copied into the created equipment. So it would show you the make, model, when you bought it, the purchase date, who you bought it from, the license number, and so forth. They're all tracked for you. Serial status details. So whenever any activity happens on this piece of equipment, going out, coming back, QC function, gets shipped, we track that as an activity here. We'll let you attach pictures to it, enter notes, so you can view it in here and see the information. Swapping, very, very important. If you send a generator on and a vehicle for a 3 month rental and 10 days into it, there's something wrong with it and you need to swap it, you can easily just swap that unit. The billing would continue. We'll bring that product back, put it in inspection status, let you check out the new unit that goes on. That could be done from rental order entry or from a menu item, and all of that. The billing continues and the product is swapped for you while it's in the field. Generated invoices, cost postings, equipment cost code. You see it in here, but you also have the ability to see that in the ROI screen. Earlier we said that you when you what you said. So when an item is received, whether it's kit assembly production or whether you purchase it or do an inventory receipt, a line is created for it, so you'll see what you paid for it. If you have the project module, what project it's entered on, if you've done repair work. So I can basically just show you how it works. I can go into the AP module and enter a transaction for this equipment 3107. By the way, we let you, as you're processing project transactions, we let you post to project. If you're processing, post to the equipment ROI. If you're putting field service transaction, work order, pair work orders, project transactions, they all post to the equipment ROI. So you see all your revenue generated if you're from different project modules and so forth. We could post both costs and based on the project task you enter, what type of an activity do you want to track for it? It's a resource revenue. So basically here, I'm entering an APBL. I'm telling it that's the unit that I want to post to, and maybe I'm doing some calibration services for it. Quantity one, $1,700. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it that's the equipment. As I mentioned, as equipment cost codes, I can do AP outside processing repairs. And what's going to happen? Oh, yes. I can release this, and this $1,750 would go sit as an equipment cost for the unit that we're looking at. So that 1750 we process comes and sits here as an expense, and I could easily just basically go down to and see all the way down to the source transaction. And again, as I mentioned, even if you're doing projects, if you're doing a project transaction, you could enter that this project is going to use a piece of equipment. I just enter the detail here for the equipment number, equipment cost code, and so forth and so on. All of that gets posted here. So you'll have, so that 3107 equipment could be entered here, and I could tell it what equipment cost code, tell it what type of active, what type, if you want to post an actual cost, resource cost, and resource revenue, and so forth. So I could make the postings from here as well to my project module. So unfortunately, there's a limit to how much I can cover in an hour. I hope I've covered enough for today's presentation. Raisa, I'd like to stop if there's any answer questions that there are.
Sure. I have a few questions here for you. What are examples of how box processing is helping?
Box processing, well, we have a lot of customers that set up a stage, and that stage requires a big 10 feet by 20 feet TV, and that is itself like 40 TV monitors, cables, connectors, all of those. They test those ahead of time and put it in a box. So when there's an order for a stage, they just can just everything was already tested in a box, and during order entry, they just select that box. They don't have to scan every single item because that box is configured, tested. The box goes up, but coming back, you can bring it as a box or bring up the components and check every component.
Perfect. Thank you. I have another question. Under what circumstances would someone take advantage of combined invoicing?
So basically, if you have situations where you're sending multiple shipments to a job site, a scaffolding project, you're sending some more items. Now, we easily let you add line items to that order. You could do that. Or you could just create a new order and flag it as this is a combined order, and I want them, all these orders to be generated together. So, or the same thing with a job site. You're working on an event at a park over the weekend, and you basically generating multiple orders from multiple ship locations, but you just want to send an invoice to the customer that contains the product from both orders. You can do that.
Okay, great. And last question, can someone start and add to a rental order in Yard?
Yes. Well, the shipment will let you substitute items. Right now, we have the ability to completely start an order in the Yard. But if you have a tablet, they can start the order and add additional item. Now, one of the things we do, that order substitute, it also lets you add items into the order. So items could be added to orders. Yes. So you could change it. uh, the guy realizes I also need to send a ladder out with this job because to set up the stage properly, they also need a ladder. The guy could add a non-stock ladder to the order, so they take the ladder out and bring it back.
Perfect. Thank you, Alec. That's all the questions that we have for now. And if you're done with your presentation, we can wrap it up. I want to thank everybody again for their time. And please feel free to send us any questions, and we'd also love to hear your feedback. So with that being
Thank
said,
you
we'll
all.
let you back to your day. Thank you. Bye.